they're doing is they want to hurt people.
Greetings, free thinkers. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. So we'll jump straight into it. What we have for you today is more footage collated from that hellhole of a once beautiful city that is now an Antifa infused, soybean infused, socialist infused, intersectionality obsessed, dystopian hellhole that is Portland, Oregon. And there's a new group of people on the scene, an exciting bunch of people known only as the Portland Mums. That's what they're called, or they're known as colloquially as Portland Mums. They're a group of middle-aged women who have appeared on the scene, and we are told that they are there only for photo ops. However, we have collated footage for you that will just show you, so you can see for yourself, that the Portland Mums are down with it. They're down with the movement. They are down with the attacks on law and order that we have seen. They are down with the socialism. They are down with the ideologues. They are down with the attacks on the last federally defended building in Portland. So without further ado, we'll get into this hot mess of intersectionality. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this video around. That helps me stay competitive with the likes of CNN, who YouTube is unfortunately choosing to prioritise. I just wish that YouTube would trust their independent content creators, such as myself, a little bit more, because most of the time, if not all the time, it is us in this culture war, the independent content creators, who have our finger on the pulse in this culture war. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So we will start off where we left off in the introduction, with a clip taken from, of course, Portland. This is at the besieged Federal Justice Center, which is the last federally defended building in Portland. And you're going to see in a moment one of the aforementioned Portland Mums. There, you saw them in the thumbnail of this video. Those group of people you saw in the thumbnail, they are the Mums. So let's go. So this is, sorry to interrupt, I just want to say, I know the audio is terrible. It sounds like there's birds chirping or bats making that chirping noise. That's not my audio equipment. I don't know why it's doing that. But this person here is one of the Mums, I have been told. They're certainly dressed the same. And no, I apologise. This is the Mum here. This is the Mum here. She's getting involved with the attacking of the building. You know, that's probably the most exercise she has had in her entire adult life, and bearing in mind as you're watching this, remember this is the largely, you always have to remember folks, these are largely peaceful, remember, these are the largely peaceful people engaging in largely peaceful protests. They're not riots, they're not disturbances, nothing like that. Oh no, you're not allowed to say those words. These are largely peaceful people engaging in largely peaceful protests, because they're just so damn largely peaceful. The skateboard, again, can I just apologise about the audio, that the skipping, that's not me, that's this, whoever recorded this. Now, the skateboard, you can see in the back there, the skateboard's being used to jimmy open this. Antifa and the far left, they love to use, I said it in my last video, you have to stop thinking like yourself. You have to stop thinking like a decent human being. If you want to understand Antifa and the woke left, you have to start thinking like underhand, cheating type of human being, a low cunning. Not intelligence per se, it's low cunning. It's dirty tactics, below the belt tactics. So when it comes to skateboards, they're just a harmless accessory, aren't they? But they can also be used as devastating weapons. We've seen the Antifa types hit people straight across the face with skateboards. That's dangerous. You can kill someone by doing that. And of course, I think that Antifa are perfectly okay with that. From what I've seen, I think that is, I would go as far as saying that is their intentions, but that's just me. Right, so the video is about to stop in a minute. I'll move on to the next clip. I just want to point out that these here are these quote-unquote mums, the Portland mums. Next, we have the other side of the Justice Centre in Portland, which, as I keep telling you guys, is the last federally defended building in Portland. Ted Wheeler is, of course, on the side of these people who he calls, quote, unquote, largely peaceful protesters. Of course, you know, we know, everyone who has critical thinking skills knows that is anything but the case. So you're going to see in this footage them pushing their luck, and one federal officer fires back with smoke grenades, stun grenades, that type of thing. Sorry to interrupt again, I know I keep doing this, but you just heard one of them giving it the whole didn't do nothing. You just heard them say, I hope you could hear that over the din, we're doing nothing wrong, we're just standing here making our voices heard, or making our voices clear, or etc, etc. No, you're not. Just look around at all the damage you've caused. I struggle to understand the mentality of the left.
We are doing nothing wrong. This makes me how we feel.
So they're saying hands up, don't shoot. Remember, this is the same building. You see the clip we just watched a minute ago, and all the clips you're going to see after this one, this is the same building on the same night. All of this footage you saw was last night. It's all been collated from last night. I'm bringing it to you from last night, taken from Andy No's Twitter account. He's one of the best sources for what's happening in Portland. Of course, I'm trying to compete with him, but I do love Andy's work. I thoroughly recommend you guys all going to follow him. He's really good, great source of information. Anyway, that's the Andy No plug over. This is happening on the same night. The same night. You notice how when it suits them, they put their hands up and they chant, "Hands up, don't shoot." This is right after you've seen the damage that they've done to this building. The damage they've done. Now that it suits them and the camera, the photo opportunity, the camera shot is there, they put their hands up and say, "Hands up, don't shoot." And what piece of footage do you think you'll see on the mainstream media? That's right. You know it, I know it. You'll see them with their hands up saying, "Hands up, don't shoot." You won't see the piece of footage that you saw just before this one. So one of the so-called peaceful protesters, we'll watch that again. So here you can see a federal officer. He's spraying mace into the face of one of the peaceful, oh so peaceful protesters. Why is he getting sprayed in the face, you might ask? Well, if we go back a little bit further, you can see he is one of the guys who kicked one of the flares, one of the smoke grenades that were thrown into the hostile crowd. They picked them up and throw them back because of the coronavirus situation, etc, etc. People don't think anything is amiss when they see people walking down the street, civilians walking down the street with masks, even gas masks, face coverings, and as such the traditional smoke grenade just doesn't cut it anymore. Right, so we're just going to watch it again. Look, he squares up to this officer. This guy here, after kicking it into there, he squares up. And this guy's a big guy. And he squares up to a small officer in front of him. And then this officer here sprays him. Watch. You see? The obligatory skateboard. Remember what I said about skateboards? And next we have a piece of footage which demonstrates it shows how these people they're detached from reality. The thing about the woke left is they don't experience the real world in the same way that you and I do. It's very similar to someone who is out off of their face on LSD or magic mushrooms or whatever. They don't experience the reality like me and you do, like we do. These guys, you'll often see them with umbrellas. You'll see this as a common theme, just like, remember what I said about the skateboard, which can be used as a weapon, which is what they use them for. You don't think this is a sudden congregation of a million different skateboarders. They all just happen to end up in the same place during a riot. They just happen to bring their skateboards. No, of course not. It's the same with these people with the umbrellas. It could be that the sun could be shining. It could be the middle of a drought. They'll still have their umbrellas. Why? It's not illegal to have an umbrella, and they use them because the people behind them, these guys in the front with the shields and the umbrella, the makeshift shields, will have their umbrellas to shield them from what's being thrown behind them, because behind them you have lines of people who throw bottles of urine, excrement, bleach, etc, etc. You saw this in the video I did yesterday. You've seen it in a lot of my videos, but especially yesterday in Chicago, where the officers who were trying to protect a statue were having all kinds of disgusting things thrown at them, and the guys in the front were with the umbrellas. See what I'm saying? You've got to think low cunning, you've got to think below the belt, you've got to think low blows. That's how Antifa work, and they're doing well with it, let's be honest, because the right are too fearful to strike back. And the thing is with cheaters, right, this is why cheating is so frowned upon, right? If a cheater is allowed to cheat, they will always have the advantage, always. You have to, and when it's come to the culture war, sure, on the intellectual debate, the right is winning, conservatives are winning, of course we are. But when it comes to the street, the left, the woke left, are winning because they are cheating. They do dirty, underhand tactics time and time again. Anyway, let's take a look at the clip. So they're basically LARPing as Braveheart. They think they're warriors in some sort of ideological war, and in a sense you probably could say that they are. However, these guys are clearly LARPing. They believe this is like, they think they're in a Hollywood movie like Braveheart, for example. Next, I'll show you a series of short clips, back to back, 2 or 3 clips, which highlights the fire's been set. I want you to see that these guys are not largely peaceful. They are set hell-bent on destroying the country as it is and replacing it with one of those socialist utopias, one of those Marxist permanent revolution utopias where people who have only a single independent thought, critical thinking skills, anything like that, any hint of conservatism, you know, the type of societies where people like you and me, we will disappear in an instant. So this is the second clip in the series of clips I was showing you, highlighting the way that these guys are not the peaceful protesters that the mainstream media and Ted Wheeler want you to believe that they are. The reason why this one I'm showing you in particular is because you've just seen, and I'll play it again after, you've just seen a violent Antifa type goon who assaulted a federal law officer, these guys here, and the federal officers were trying to arrest him, and his goon friends got him out and they ran off, and one of them, I believe, even successfully stole his helmet or tried to steal his helmet. We'll see again when we watch it. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is because this is why the federal law enforcement officers have those unmarked snatch groups where they go out to snatch these guys off the streets, because this isn't regular law and order. This isn't regular law and order issues. This isn't shoplifters. This isn't burglars or people who are slinging rocks on the corner. So I don't think he got his helmet. It was hard to see. I think he went to grab his helmet, but the officer snatched it back in time, luckily. All of these young men and women who have been taught by the Marxist education system that you pay for to hate their own country. To hate. They've been taught to hate. And these guys are the liberals who talk about peace and love and all that. Don't just... Listen, it's all projection. With the woke left, it's all projection. They are what they claim to oppose, and they do what they claim to hate, or they are what they claim to hate. They are everything they claim to fight against. And the third and final clip of the 3 clips I wanted to show you to highlight that these guys are not the peaceful, largely peaceful protesters you've been told. So let's take a look. So what they're doing is they're trying to, you see that laser there? These are extremely powerful lasers. I'm not sure if they're legal or whether they should be illegal, but the manufacturers and the sellers of these, who sell them online, of course, you couldn't buy them in shops, if they skirt around certain laws so that they're barely legal. But basically, if you get that shined in your unprotected eyes, at the very least it's going to hurt. If it continues, it will permanently blind you. They're powerful beams of light that I believe, don't quote me on it, are illegal. Or if they are legal, they just skirt around laws in that kind of Ponzi schemey type way. So we'll watch that again. So remember, you've got the laser, and what these guys are doing is they are packing loads of fireworks together against the federal, the door of the federal building in the hopes of blowing it open. And before I leave with you, remember the thumbnail, remember about these Portland bums. Let's watch this one more time. Remember that they're all dressed in yellow. Some of these guys here, who the mainstream media are telling us they oppose this, oppose that, they are the Portland bums. Watch one last time. So you have the laser, you have the fireworks being packed together, and you have the Portland mums. All of these Portland mums. And I will leave you and give you my final thoughts. Say goodbye with the picture of the Portland mums in the background. Remember the yellow? There they are. Here they are. And we have the hill. Right, yeah, the hill. This is what I'm talking about, the mainstream media. Portland mums form human barrier to protect protesters from federal officers. That's what the hill is saying. Okay, the mainstream media. Portland mums form human barrier. So I will get this into a better... So here we are. Portland mums form human barrier to protect protesters from federal officers. Oh yeah, I'm sure that's what they were doing. See, the Hill wants you to read this and feel all lovey-dovey with love hearts popping above your head, and they want you to think, oh, those nasty federal officers. Think back to what you've just seen. I hope you've watched this all the way through. Think back to what you've just seen in this video. Right? And you tell me if those people are innocent or whether they're just trying to protect protesters, largely peaceful protesters, from those horrible federal officers. Of course not. You've seen it. If you've watched this video all the way through, you've seen it. So I want to leave you with that, okay? Remember, these guys here are just another tool to convince you guys and the people at home, and I'm not saying you're sheeple, but I'm on about the normies, the people who aren't up to date with the culture war, the people who go about their lives day to day, largely good people, but they're just stupid. They're sheeple. They don't keep up to date with things in the normal way. That they think that the Hill and the BBC, Sky News, CNN, MSNBC, they think they give them the news, but they don't realise that they're being fed a narrative. They're not being fed the news, they're being fed the narrative. The Hill knows exactly what these Portland mums are doing. The footage I've just shown you, the footage you have just seen, okay, which directly contradicts what the Hill are saying, what the mainstream media are saying. But do you think the normies are going to see my footage? Or do you think the normies are going to read the Hill's trashy, bullshit fake news article? Of course they're going to read the Hill, aren't they? And that's where you guys come in, because if you could like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't already, and most importantly share this around. That way we can get some more of the normies into the culture war that is going to affect, because the culture war is going to affect all of our lives if it isn't affecting your life already. And we can build a community together here at this channel where we can become enlightened and we can share information, and you can feel a sense of comfort knowing that you're not alone and it's not just you and you're not going crazy. I really do hope left and right can come together at some point and things can go back to the way they were. However, that can't happen so long as the woke left continue to be in denial about the fact that they are causing the trouble here. It's not conservatives. Certainly not Trump. Anyway, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.